my mum's got, and it might be deemed as unacceptable. So.
Right, where's my gin? Oh, I've got to pull out a gin. I've got 1 minute to go. You've got time? I'm going to talk about the shop, mate, about how annoyed I am that I've gone to a shop. I'm gonna talk nonsense, mate. You just have to play along with it, all right? I'll just think off the cuff.
And we're slipping every now and then to yesterday.
Yeah.
And recap on a couple of bits.
Yeah.
We can bring up the topic.
But we can talk about the coronavirus and the meeting and stuff yesterday in the town. Right. Okay. 3, 2, 1. We're going live, Grem. Okay, ready? Get a puff, quick.
Oh, yeah.
We smoke. Can we use these vapes? You know. Have you changed your name to Ben&Grem Show, or just Grem?
Oh, Ben&Grem.
Rename the Ben&Grem Show.
He's Ben&Grem, isn't it?
Oh
Oh
shit!
no, damn.
Penny Lane, Penny Lane, Penny Lane. What's going on here? I need that. Is that the one I want? No. Is it?
Dun, 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 dun. Oh.
The vape's one out. Just as I'm puffing on it.
We are organised, everybody. We promise we are definitely organised. Oh. Yes, we are organised. The laptop is sort of come alive.
Coming along, coming alive. Right, are you ready? Right. Oh, 3, 2. Hang on. Oh, I need another vape. All right. Oh, just have to bear with it. Right. Okay, Graham. 3, 2, 1.
Some viewers may find this disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Right. Okay, Graham. 3, 2, 1.
What's wrong with Ben today? Silence.
Well, Graham, it's been one of them days. I can't tell you how much of a day it's been. It's been a nightmare. Do you know what? Guys, I don't know about you guys. You know, I hope you're having a wonderful day. I mean, we are having a good day, Graham, aren't we? I think you've had a good day. I've had a good day. But have you ever had this, guys? I've walked into a shop, all right? And I'm going, right, what do I need? I need some tonic. I've walked into the shop, and just as I've gone over to get the tonic, somebody else has picked the tonic up. It was a last bottle. So I'm like, now what do I do about this? So I'm thinking, do I have a word with him? And do I say to him, look, mate, I'll give you a few extra quid for that? Or do I just go, actually, you know, snoozers, losers, as they say, and just carry on walking? And then to work, and then you wouldn't believe it, right? That was the first situation I came across. The next situation was the sugar. I want you to get a bag of sugar, and he's the same guy, no word of a lie, the same guy has picked up a bag of sugar. Now he's at the till. I'm like, I don't believe this. I really couldn't believe it. I mean, I stood there gobsmacked. How the possibilities and realms of possibilities, how could that even be possible, guys? Grem. Anyway, I came out with nothing. So what about you, Grem? What sort of day have you had?
Same as normal. Yeah. It's been the same, basically. I've just walked the dog. I've been keeping busy with helping my mum, keeping things tidy. I've cleaned the parrot cage today as well. I've been kept busy and arranging for tonight, getting everything together and for our guest this evening.
Parrot cage. Graham, what's the parrot's favourite food?
Or anything we've got hold of, he's clicks at the cage. So he'll eat anything, but obviously you can't give them chocolate and stuff. But they like fruits. So he normally has some of my apple or orange, but they're mainly on seeds, really, like the special parrot seed that he has. He's a very naughty parrot. He likes to bite me. In fact, he likes to bite people.
Well, to be honest, I would want to bite you, Graham, if I thought you were going anywhere near me food. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, and I hope you're having a wonderful evening. It's warm out there, Graham, today on this Sunday evening. No, it's not Sunday. That was yesterday. Monday evening.
It's Monday. It's Monday.
It's Monday. Yeah, it is Monday. Well, look, I'm hoping everyone's had a good day. It is warm out there today. The studio's heating up. Bit hot. Welcome to the summer, ladies and gentlemen. Graham, yeah, so I just thought I'd mention that because, the funny thing was I was just talking to Graham about me going to the shops. Now, I went to the shops to pick up some tonic. I'll just quickly run over it because I don't know whether actually it came through, guys, but it should be working all rather well. So basically, I've gone into the shop and I've gone to pick up some tonic, and there's a guy in front of me. He's picked it up, the only tonic that there was. And then, you wouldn't believe it, I walked around the corner, went to pick up some sugar. He picked that sugar up. There was no more sugar. So he's gone to the till with tonic and sugar. Weird combination, I suppose, but then makes two of us because I was going to get the same thing. And then, there was no more of those items. And so I asked the guy, and he said there was down the back, the guy that works in the store. And so I had to wait for him to unload it. Well, I thought, well, that's a bit cheeky. I can't expect him just to stop everything for me. So I thought I'll just go back later. So in the end, I've gone in the shop to get 2 items and come out with none. But ironically, how does that happen? I mean, does that normally happen? Does that ever happen to anybody? I mean, usually there's plenty of stock for everyone, right? I mean, it could have just been I've just picked a really, really bad moment and it was just a consequence. Coincidental. What do you think, Graham?
Well, it's happened to me before as well. At the start of the lockdown, when stores started to limit people and have people lining up outside, a normal shopping trip would take me about 15-20 minutes because we only have a small fridge at home because of the size of the kitchen, and so we've got limited stock that we can put in it. So we buy most of our stuff every other day or every couple of days.
Right.
So there's normally between 7 and 14 items roughly on the list. And on this specific time, I went to Aldi's like I normally do to purchase some the items. Ended up coming out with 2 of the items. So I then walked to Morrison's to line up there for 17 minutes, I think it was. Which was, well, we're getting used to it now, aren't we? We're all getting used to lining up in queues, aren't we?
Well, but Graham, I mentioned to the viewers yesterday, do you remember when I said about I was up at Tesco's, right, in Whitfield, up at Tesco's in Dover? So I was up there, and the queue, as I said before, once upon a time you could queue outside of the building and you could just be sort of a few paces down. Yeah, you might be sort of, I don't know, the 20th or 30th person down the line. Yeah. But it was a line. But then all of a sudden they've now built a maze. And I said, didn't I, yesterday on the show, on the Sunday night show, I said it was like the Crystal Maze. You literally get lost because you have to go like a zigzag. And it was just madness. And do you know what? That put me off. I thought, do you know what? I'll go somewhere else. I mean, I thought someone was having a laugh. Honestly, I did, Graham. I thought somebody was having a laugh. And I thought, I ain't standing there to go in there for a couple of items. I mean, actually, I could have just gone to my local newsagents, but no, you know, it's nice to get out and about. You know, the point is, you've got to let your car run. You know what I mean? You can't go anywhere. It's lockdown. So, but your car needs to run. You know what I mean? We've got to keep that lubrication going. So, Grem, you know what I mean? You know,
yeah, definitely. Definitely, mate. So I didn't get all of my shopping list in that first shop. Morrison's, I came out with nothing.
Right.
In fact, I believe I spoke about this yesterday, didn't I?
Yeah, you did, and it was on the Sunday show. I'll just recapping, guys, because obviously there'll be some people maybe that's coming in this evening that haven't been on the show last evening. So I'm just sort of recapping. But yeah, it was very strange, wasn't it? You know, and I thought that's really bizarre. But yeah, the weather's been weird, hasn't it? It's been wet. It's been a bit miserable. It's starting to brighten up a little bit.
Today I went down to the seafront today. Just took Mum out for a drive, for some fresh air. She remained in the car because it was a bit chilly. But as I was walking the dog along that area, right. I did notice there was still quite a few people out and about walking dogs, which is fine. We're just trying to picture the scene for everybody, and the weather was windy-ish, and that you could feel the heat. You could feel the sun within the clouds. You could feel the temperature.
What about off the dog?
No, she wasn't steaming hot.
Right.
She did nearly get hit by a slight bit of a wave, though. But you know, she's okay. I can't have a wet dog in the car.
Well, no, I suppose not. But there's not a lot you can do if the dog runs into the sea. You know what I mean?
If she'd done that,
can't be control everything.
If she'd done that, she'd disappear, mate. She's only a little thing, bless her.
Have you seen a dog swim, though? It's amazing. Do you know what? I never taught my dog how to swim, and she can swim. I mean, it's almost like a natural instinct. You know, us humans, we have to go through, like, I don't know, a few weeks of school, don't we, to learn how to swim and do a few backstrokes. But no, not a dog. Straight in there. You know what I mean?
It's like
straight
riding a bike. It's like learning to ride a bike. You need to practice.
Yeah, but you don't see a dog riding on a bike, do you? That's what I'm getting at, Graham. You know what I mean? You don't see a dog riding a bike. Is it a tandem? Not even. What's the one wheel thing, guys? Is it tandem?
Oh no. What do they call those one wheeled things? I can remember when I was in. Yeah, Unicycles. I was in Dymchurch last year and the year before, and we're just walking up and down, and I both times I saw this chap on a bike on one of them.
Yeah.
And he was actually on the wall, going along the sea wall, and I'm not me, no way.
Definitely not. Andrew is in chat. He says, "Hello, Ben and Grem." Hello, Andrew. Thank you for tuning in again.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Monday night stream. Doggy paddle, he says. Yeah, doggy. They can paddle. Honestly, they are they are like fish with 4 legs. Dogs, aren't they?
Survival technique, as you said. You know, they've got out of their depth, and all of a sudden they can like swim for their lives.
Anyway, guys, I wonder if you can help me on this one, Graham. Unicycles, right? So a unicycle. This one guy I knew back in the day had a unicycle, and that's how I remembered it. But he was going backwards and forwards like this. And I was thinking, he ain't going nowhere. What's the point in that? I said, you need 2 wheels, mate.
He's balancing, I suppose. It's all to do with balance, isn't it? So
it's got nothing to do with the fact that he can't ride it and he's due to fall off. It's because that's what he's doing, is he? Is he actually looking for balance? Because I thought he was going to go straight down the road. But
no, it's just a trick. He's basically doing a trick, isn't he? He's just like...
Oh, well, now you tell me.
And so on. And then you'll probably find it a spin round and jump up and...
Don't see the point. What's the point? Does it even have a brake? One wheel? That's dangerous. You know, you pull a brake on that one wheel, you're going over the front. In fact, you're not even going around. You're going round with it. Surely.
The pedal does it, isn't it? The pedal does it. You when you go the opposite direction, it sort of acts as a slow down. But are you also with turning?
Okay, let me get this in my mind because I've never ridden one of these unicycles.
Oh, actually, is anybody watching right now been on a unicycle?
That'd be interesting. I'd like to think people have. I need some help with this.
How about Andrew? Andrew, has he been on a unicycle?
I wonder. Graham, can you actually ride to work on one of these things though? I mean, is it not for that means? Is it not for a mode of transport? I mean, you don't see them going around London, do you? You know what I mean? Or is it just mainly for the circus? I don't know.
No, you can have one. You can go to work on it. You know, it's not an issue. You can even go to Button Moon and back. I'm sure it'll work out.
You ain't got no handlebars though.
No, it's all to do with balance, mate. It's all to do with balance.
Yeah, but you can't balance, 3-4 miles, can you? Surely, not when moving. You only got to get a bit of wind on the back, and that's it. You're over the front, surely, on a one wheel. I don't know. Anyway, guys, I'm taking too much time.
Practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect, my friend.
Yeah, well, that's what they all say, innit?
But one thing for certain, mate, I'm not getting on no unicycle. No way. It's not happening.
No, well, I think you'd work on a unicycle.
No, my weight would not be very good on a unicycle. I'll probably pop the tyre.
That's why they invented. And
I wouldn't want to lose my good looks. Hit face down on the floor and
suspension.
Damage your face. I mean, this is quite expensive to keep up.
Well, anyhow, we've had a good day anyway, nonetheless. We've done a bit of recording, didn't we? We did some yesterday. I hope everybody enjoyed it. We moved around Dover. We took some photo shoots and some recordings of various people from the local area, just talking about their feelings on coronavirus and whether actually we're running into the normality side of things maybe rather too quickly. And interestingly, we had some good feedback, Graham, didn't we? We did.
We had an excellent day yesterday. Everyone we spoke to were very happy to take part, and it was nice because I did honestly think that when we was going to ask these people to take part, I was a bit worried that they maybe will not decide not to and show us some sort of resentment. But it worked. We've had a great day yesterday, and we got an awful lot of footage from that.
People asked about the show, didn't they?
Yes, and it's gone live now, isn't it? It's already up and running on YouTube. I've shared it on my Facebook page.
Good,
I will be sharing it as well on some local groups at some point today.
Yeah, well, that's a nice thing about Dover, isn't it? And we've got some lovely people in Dover, and we do plan maybe to do a bit of scouting around the UK and get some footage in other areas of other topics as well. So it's not just about the news, and I just want to make that point. It's about anything, really. Anything that you want to talk about. We said this before. Anything you want to talk about. We have tonight, as we have most nights on a Monday, that is, we have a Monday night guest. And we do have a guest this evening. He will be in with us at 7:30, just checking the time. And we're all pretty well scripted, so looking forward to that, Graham, aren't we?
Yes, we are pretty well scripted, but let's see how it goes.
I think it'll go well. So what you got to tell the folks then, Graham? I mean, I've had a bit of a funny situation in that shop earlier. But what about you? Have you had anything going on?
No, honestly, my day has just been basically normal. It's been busy. I've been keeping occupied and assisting Mum. As I said earlier, that walked the dog, went out for a drive, been to Aldi's and got a couple of bits, some shaving gel so I could have a shave for tonight.
Do you know what, Graham? Something I need to tell the folks, actually. Shaving cream. Now, how many of you in the chat, now I'm not necessarily directing this at any women in this chat here because, well, I mean, I know they shave, of course they do, but I'm maybe talking Gillette. I mean, women shave with Gillette, I'm sure they probably do. Or is it Venus? Venus? Anyway.
It's Venus shavers, isn't it? Venus
well, okay, they're Venus shavers, but I'm thinking of the cream now, right? So I don't buy, I don't know about you guys, but I don't buy, right? I simply do not buy. Ben, on behalf of the Ben and Grem Show, does not buy Gillette shaving cream. Why does it not do that? I don't know. Maybe because I seem to be able to get more out of a bottle of body wash. Get my words out. So what do I mean by that? Well, actually, I shave with body wash. Is that right? Is that normal? I just think it's
We can shave with Dove soap and anything that's got some sort of moisturising
Well, it's slippery. It's slippery.
lotion in it. It's fine.
Yeah, it is. And so I don't buy it. Buy it literally. Do not buy it. Buying things like Gillette, it's really costly. And I think, well, I've got a shampoo there. I mean, why not? Just pop it on and give it a shave. The reason why I'm not shaving tonight, guys, or have been recently, simply because I have no reason. I have no excuse. I purely just want to see maybe how far it'll grow again, Graham. I know it's much to your disapproval, but
Well, no. If you trimmed it and kept it like nice and like short and like tidy, instead of looking like you've just like crawled out of a bush.
Well,
or been awake like 72 hours.
Yeah, well, that's something. I mean, but you've got to work hard, guys. You know what I mean? You've got.
It got to a stage. It got to a stage, everybody, that I wasn't actually sure if anything was crawling through his beard. It's just got extremely long, didn't it?
Only my fingers. Well, Andrew says he's been to Segway and he said it was fun. Hang on. No, he hasn't. There's no such place. Start again, Graham. No, he's been on a Segway. What's a Segway, guys? I mean, it's obviously and evidently not a place. What's a Segway?
Isn't that one of those like transporting? Like it's like they've got one at Chesterton's World of Adventure. Isn't it like a bus thing that's on like some rails that is above you and it goes around the park? Is that right?
Like a carousel?
No, it's like you've been to Chesterton's World of Adventure, haven't you, with your family?
Yeah, just a couple of years ago, ish, 2 years ago.
Well, if you get up near where the food area is, like the square area,
yeah,
they've got one. They've got a there's like I don't know what it's called. I can't remember the name of it.
Right. Well, I hope you guys found that interesting. No fault of Graham's, but I still am quite particularly. I'm quite lost on that. I still don't know what a Segway is.
We could have a look.
Isn't it not? Didn't they have them in Folkestone, Graham? You have the seats that you sit on the top of, and it pulls. It's like a stair lift, but it goes from the top down to the bottom, and it goes sort of down as a. You know what I mean? Like a train.
Have a look. Oh
no!
Well, isn't there a Segway in America as well? Oh, buddy, how embarrassing!
Right.
I just said the B word, but it's in the Bible. It's in the book. If you don't believe me, you need to take a look, basically. So, anyone's offended by the B word.
I think they're lovely things. Nearly extinct, aren't they? They're nearly extinct.
Apologises, but I don't know. But my green screen sort of going to play.
We've got to look after the planet, guys. That's what I'm going to say.
That's how old we are, Ben. It's one of those things.
We can't see it, guys, can we?
Now. Oh, it's gone.
Right. Okay. Graham.
Where is it?
Right.
Loads of different ones. There's literally loads. Wouldn't it be fun to go on some of these?
Do you think?
It's a balancing thing. It's a bit like a skateboard.
It's a monorail, Graham. Andrew says.
I thought it was.
Yeah. Lisa Terry, she says, hi, guys. Hello, Lisa. How you doing? Good to see you. Don't think you're getting out of this. You're coming on the show, you know.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Been too long. It's a bloody scooter. Did I just say the B word?
No, you can, because it's in the book. It's in the Bible. So you're fine.
Okay.
You can do it.
I'll get away with that one once, I think. Andrew, Lisa
Why
says.
not?
2 wheels next to each other, and you stood on a platform. 2 wheels next to each other, you stood on a platform. I've got a vision now. Vision.
It's just a balance. It's balancing again. You know what it is? It's like a skateboard. It's like a skateboard, but the wheels are on the side.
And the board goes like that on the wheels.
Yeah, that's it. One of
Yeah,
them.
and you hold handlebars at the top. I know what you mean. Never had one. Never had
There's
one.
me thinking of the thing in Flaming Chessingtons and skateboard thing.
You know what, Graham? Talking about weird objects.
Embarrassing.
Well, talking about weird objects, I had this young lad come past me the other day, and he was on a hoverboard. A hoverboard. I mean, I thought these things would never exist apart from the magazines. They actually are real, Graham. I thought, wow, why do I need to put petrol in a car when I can go to work on a hoverboard?
That would be fun. I wouldn't mind going to work on my night shift on a hoverboard from
Oh,
day to
yeah. It keeps you fit, I suppose, doesn't it, as well? Because you've got to stay on the thing, I guess. And I suppose it doesn't really go that fast, guys, does it?
What about when you get to a hill, though? When you get to a hill, like, can you just glide down it without using much power? How does it work? How do they work? Does anyone know how they work?
Never had one. Never had one. So, Graham.
Yes, Ben.
You're not going to believe this.
What's happened, Ben?
Well, I'm in the doghouse.
Oh, dear.
Well, I haven't fed my dog yet, have I?
That's not good, mate. That's not good.
Well, it's not, because she's giving me some real evils downstairs. I thought to myself, right, this isn't going to work. I ain't got time to feed her. Guys, you'll know by now, me and Graham, we have the Ben&Grem Show, and each week we seem to get better and better at things, I think, blowing our own trumpets here. But tonight, I was rushing about, and like I said, I had this little story where I went around the shop, and I didn't pick up a few things because the person in front of me picked them up for me, but they were for him. That doesn't happen every day. And the shop didn't have any more items of that nature, so I walked out empty-handed. That kind of threw me. I got home and I scratched my head and thought, that just really happened. What a story. And so I thought maybe you guys could benefit from sharing of that story. But because of that, I never fed the dog. I didn't actually go around for some dog food either. I don't know. I wasn't planning on feeding the dog. I didn't think she wanted feeding. But it's like all things, isn't it? It's like having children, isn't it? You've got something you got to do, and then you guarantee the moment you go to do it, your children want something. Now, whether it's, I don't know, a nappy change or, I don't know, food, probably more likely food for many of you that are mums and dads. You'll know that one. Whenever you were busy, whenever you could really do with 5 minutes to do anything you wanted. Do you find that, Graham?
Yeah, all the time. I settle myself down with designing the layout for tonight's show and with you, and then something will happen. Something will materialise and throws everything up in the air. Well,
you know what you need, Graham, don't you? If I'm honest, what you need is a flying broom, Lisa says. She wants a flying broom.
No, we need a full production team to wait on us. So whilst we're doing this now, we could have someone massaging our feet.
Right. Okay. Lisa says, I'm not sure about that really. What do you think, viewers?
I mean, what happens under the desk happens under the desk, doesn't it?
What, whilst on the broom?
Yeah. Why not?
I'm not sure how that works. Come back to us on that one. Have a think. Maybe the viewers can answer that. Lisa says, what's the thoughts, or your thoughts, Graham? I think she aimed it at both of us, actually, so there's no getting out of it.
Okay.
What's your thoughts on the protesting? I thought you were going to say plastering then. I thought I read it wrong. I thought I can get away with that.
Oh, plastering. I can answer plastering.
I can't plaster. I mean, I've never tried, actually. It's one of the things I haven't done. I don't think it's hard, is it? But
plastering. No, plastering's well, actually, I learnt it at college.
Right.
Yeah, we went there with the school sent us there on, I think it was a Friday hours, and we learned some plastering and some bricklaying. Well, bricklaying and then obviously plastering. You don't put plaster first in a load of bricks, do you? Because you need bricks to be able to put plaster on. No, it's a really interesting course. I really enjoyed it. But that was years ago.
Very talented, yeah. It's not work, especially when you work out in all those weathers. But anyway, Graham, let's not divert, because I think Lisa wants us to answer a question. And I will apologise on Lisa's behalf for talking about plastering. It had no relevance to it at all. But that's what it's about. This is what it's about. Random. The Ben&Grem Show is the most random thing.
Have no relevance to some people, but to others that probably highly enlightened.
Well, possibly. Right, so Graham, who's going to answer this question then, right? So what's the views on the protesting? Are you going to start or do you want me to start?
Would you like to start? Because
Yeah,
I
why not?
sent out.
I'll have a sip of the old gin first.
Okay. You're gin? Gin? This time of day?
Well, you know, it's early, isn't it?
Flask. I've got a flask of white chocolate. Was it? Yeah, white chocolate and raspberry coffee.
Right. Well, I've only had a little bit of gin. I haven't had much recently, so I'm just making an opportunity count. But anyway, yeah. So let's not. I've only had one. Let's not divert. So anyway, yes, the protests absolutely appalling.
Pint people. He just before he went live, he was actually like knocking the bottle back. It's had a bit of a stressful day, it's Ben.
No, it's been all right. It's always good, mate.
A bag of sugar. You lost a bag of sugar, didn't you?
Yeah. Tonic. Bottle of tonic.
Tonic? Yeah. Well, why don't you go to Aldi's? They've got loads of tonic down there. It's about 30 pence, I think it is.
Yeah, yeah. Well, look, guys, we will come back to Lisa's question, but we have a guest coming in, guys, because it is almost 1:30. But I'll just talk about very briefly. I'll just say, Lisa, I just think personally the protests have been blown way out of proportion, and it's become far too political. And I don't think it's necessarily about Black Lives Matter at all. I think it's an opportunity for individuals to go above and beyond the means of necessary. And I think in reality that they are really doing things in such a way to, I think, defy the lockdown. They're just looking for excuses. I mean, you know, I'm not saying there isn't any racism in the world, and there is, and there's lots of it, regardless of the colour involved.
I agree with you, Ben.
I think it's
mostly agree with you. But the Black Lives Matter that set up and originally asked for for it to go ahead and was granted permission.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, normally they go about things the correct way, but what's happening is not them, is it? It's individuals that are coming in and joining, and it's certain individuals that are causing situations which they're not good. It's extremely frustrating to see what's happening.
It is. And Lisa, absolutely. I don't want to offend anybody here with my opinions, but no, I absolutely agree. All lives do matter. It's not about colour, not about race. We should all respect one another for each and every one of our individualities. And, you know, I feel sad that, and we all do, that racism does exist. But I do not think in any which way or other that any celebrity, any media, journalist or otherwise should be backing these protests in any certain way.
No, it shouldn't be. No.
It's sending the wrong message.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. I mean, in the past, I mean, it's only about 10 years or so ago. If you were a public performer of some description, even media, even like news reporters,
yes,
they weren't the way they are today.
Absolutely not.
Now they just seem to jump on the bandwagon. It's become ever so political. Indeed. As you said, some of these individuals turning up at the protests in London and elsewhere in Manchester,
right?
With what's happened there as well recently, it's not appropriate way to behave. If you want to be taken seriously, you've got to go down the correct route.
Absolutely. And Kevin says the media twists everything. Right, guys, we are just going to hold some horses here. We're going to slam on the brakes because me and Graham know how to talk. And thank you guys for aiding and abetting us. We do need to move over to our special guest. It is 1:30 the hour, and we will finally bring in a Mr. Lee Turner for you, everybody. Welcome, Lee.
Aha, Mr. Lee. Ah, hello, Lee.
Here he is.
Ben and Graham, how are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. I'm much better now. I'm fed.
It always helps. Well, I'm on the gin, so I mean that's flowing. That's how.
I shouldn't say this, but I'm on Glenfiddich.
Yeah, well, you need to resort to
and supplies. Oh, you can see it's gone see-through. And my supplies.
Wow,
anyway.
amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. So, guys, just a bit of an introduction. So, Lee here is a very good friend of ours. He is also very well endowed when it comes to technical abilities. Thank
you. I wonder where you're going with that.
Yeah, I thought you might. I was thinking, where am I going with this? I didn't have a clue. That just come off the tongue. But I thought it would be
nice
great
to say. I'll tell you where I got the operation. All right, okay, go on.
I was looking at the camera, Lee, and I was thinking, I'm going to say this, but I thought if I look at the camera, I won't see your face when your face drops. At that very moment, I said what I said. Graham is drinking tea, Lisa says. But no, I want to just mention Lee is a very good friend of ours, and he's very good with the camera. He's very good with technology, and he's not just good at technology, he's good at many things, like friends are. You know, you always know a friend that has the will and a way. And so we thought, brilliant, we'll get Lee on because, you know, he's a really interesting guy, and I think we can all benefit from some of Lee's education. And so for that reason, without further ado, welcome, Lee. Thank you again.
Thank you.
For
nice to see you all.
But Graham wants to kick the show off here with the special guest tonight.
I'm going to definitely give it a try and keep our guests happy.
Good stuff.
Come on in, Graham. What are you going to do to me?
Well, we've got a few questions for you tonight.
Okay.
Yeah. For people that obviously don't know you, you are in teaching.
Yes.
What kind of what area is that in?
Well, I'm near Gatwick. I'm based in Crawley at the moment. As a teacher, I work in secondary schools, so it's probably worth sharing that so you get an idea of where we're coming from. I'm a design and technology teacher. I wasn't always a teacher. I've worked in many different things, but it's something that I did later in life. Fortunately, I had a degree, kind of a spare one, you know. I got into teaching partly because of a change in circumstances in my own life. So I now work in a secondary school near Crawley, and it's very interesting at the moment trying to operate from a computer. Because, in fact, today was the first time I went into the school since March. So,
wow. It's a difficult time for everyone, really, isn't it?
Well, it's the most. There's no words for it, is there?
No.
How can you explain a circumstance like this? And I think personally, I think most people are dealing with it as best as they can, and I think they're doing pretty good. Is the truth of it.
I mean, the whole process of how you set up lessons is different, isn't it? It's just, I mean, you've literally got to reprogram yourself, haven't you?
In a classroom, in a classroom, what you are in front of a class of kids, and really, I've done it for several years, and although I have a lesson plan, that lesson plan was written 20 odd years ago, and it's in my head now. So although I can write down the framework of what I want to deliver, the real skill is now in between my ears, and I now share the content of that lesson really verbally. So all of a sudden in March, I'm literally in a situation where it's all gone. I don't have that contact where I can discuss a circumstance, I can monitor the students, I can see if they're struggling, because it's visual as well. I'm in a workshop most of the time, so immediately you zone in on those that needed a bit of support. It's a visual thing. You can see what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I was going. One of my questions actually was about your teaching techniques would have to adapt, obviously, to the current circumstances that we're in. And with the fact of students that are having difficulties and maybe assistance here and there.
Well, there's two sides to what you're. If I hear what you're saying, there's two sides. I've got students that we've always got probably only about 5%, but you've always got 5% of the students that are fortunate enough. They have a pretty good. The key is they have a pretty good grasp of grammar and understanding. So it doesn't matter what you write down or what you say. They've understood what you said and they'll process it, and then they can get on with the task. But for the other 95%, and it is as high as that, especially depending on the year group, of course. But a lot of my year groups at the moment are year 7 and 8. and their grasp of grammar is just not at a level where you can just write something down and they will understand everything you said. And quite often in a lesson, part of your strategy is you will throw questions back. So let's say the task is we're working on a design brief. They will read a design brief. But then as a teacher, immediately I will throw questions back and say, okay, and I'll pick out words and check, did they actually understand it? But that's now written in front of them on the computer screen. You try, it's amazing how many really don't. You begin to realize and learn exactly how many don't understand what was written in the first place. So yeah, doing it from home has been a big eye-opener, and many of them I think have struggled, and it's the grammar more than anything else that they struggle with.
So are you doing as like a support network at all? Are you doing like an online discussion video talk?
No, it's complex because they are young people. I've seen the adverts on the telly and gone, it's not actually that easy. We've actually got to make the effort to go and get written consent from every single parent before we can video them, or talk to them live on a video Zoom link or whatever it is you want to do. So it's not actually that straightforward. So I hear some schools have managed to put it in place. The school I'm at, it's a particularly, I'm not sure how to word it. The cohort have a lot of difficulties, let's put it that way. So we're from a community that need a lot of extra help. So to expect that sort of contact is just not feasible. We might get through to say half of them, but the plan would be to approach them all and deal with them all, and try and put a system in place where they can all do it. It just doesn't work. It's not happening, and it's not happening from most of the schools, from what I'm aware. Putting video lessons in place is not quite so straightforward when you have so many regulations that you need to abide by first.
Are they using any other format?
Well, the school immediately, and most schools, we're lucky to be part of an academy. So as part of an academy, it's a lot of the independent schools will struggle because they're relying on their immediate support team. But as part of an academy, the whole structure is run like a business. So they already have in-house lawyers, in-house HR, in all the different bits and pieces that exist within a business, where you've got the support and the advice and the guidance, so that you understand exactly what implications you need to put in place, so, which makes a massive difference. So for us, it was a lot easier in that way. But yeah, no, it's still lots to do. Still lots to do.
So also anxieties as well. Any anxieties that you've?
Yeah. Well, it's two sides, isn't it? How do I answer this? I'd probably better if I go back, because we've got student anxieties. That's never stopped. There's always been. We're very lucky. We've got I say we're very lucky. A lot of schools are actually quite good at this. The support structure in the school that I'm in now is actually quite good. They're very good at spotting when there are problems. There's lots of different support structures in place. The more that you hear the news has reported so many sort of young deaths, suicides. There's a lot of that reported now, and that's obviously a massive topic. So a lot of the schools are actually really good. They have a very secure structure in place, and it's no different where I am. So if I go back a little bit, you kind of have to understand that if I'm in a classroom and I'm working in the classroom, if I have a student that comes in, doesn't matter what the scenario is, and I have any concern at all, and it's very easy to pick up concerns. Perhaps they come in, I've had a student that wouldn't take his blazer off. Why won't you take your blazer off? They've got an injury. Why have you got an injury? And you might not get any more than that. But immediately, as a responsible teacher, you would report that straight into a central system. Now, there might be nothing from that. But if that happens to another teacher and another teacher, what happens is that becomes a case study, that becomes evidence within a system. So it's recorded. Every small detail is actually logged and recorded.
Yeah.
So that's the system and the structure within the school straight away anyway. Now, the same applies really for the teaching staff as well. If a teacher has a concern, that's uploaded as well for themselves or for another member of staff, or if they think another member of staff is struggling within the departments. Again, it's reported in exactly the same framework on a different system, because obviously it's staff, but it's reported in the same way. There are, I know there's 2 specialised in our school, but I think there's a team of 4 to 5 people in the school, and they are all part of the support team. And they actually have specialised training. They're
That's
2 of them are
good.
part of the teaching staff, so they have an understanding, but they have specialised training, and that means that if there needs to be any intervention, there's people there. They actually have everything in place, and it's dealt with very well.
Yeah, Lee, can I just say, I mean, actually,
go on.
That very setup for the particular school you're referring to is very good, and it's nice to hear that they've got those sort of systems in place, schools now. But wouldn't you think it would be quite beneficial to have something similar within the NHS? For example, a system, they might already have it, but like a system whereas the staff could feel more comfortable in the knowledge of being able to report any particular small or large incident into a system of some form. And the reason why I say this is because actually it has been known in recent times that there has been a said amount of bullying within the NHS. I mean, how much of it nowadays, I'm not so sure, but it is something that I know they've been trying to tackle. And they may already have a structure. I mean, do you know anything about that? Do you think it'd be worth something?
I don't work in the NHS, so I don't know for sure. But I'd be shocked to think that there wasn't some form of framework in place where they had some sort of support there. Whether it's effective or not is another thing. I don't know if it would work or not. And I should think in a environment like that, one of the things you always hear on the news is they always talk about lack of funding. I mean, it's the same for everything. But, they talk about lack of funding. And when it's adults, I should think it's much more difficult to monitor that in the same way. Because you mentioned the word bullying, that sort of thing. That's I wasn't always a teacher. I was in industry before that. And in industry, it's very easy to kind of dominate, and if you're in charge, equally if you're not, you can feel intimidated. So it's actually a very simple circumstance to create.
Of course it is.
And obviously it's not good, but I would think it's very difficult to deal with and monitor.
It is, but I would say
I don't know.
I agree. I agree with you there, Lee. And I think there's an element of, well, actually, you know, because we're adults, you know, somebody that might take offence to something which may not be that offensive. A cluster of people might think it's not offensive, but to that one person it is. So if they log it, but actually there's been no other cases, then yes, you could say, well, actually on a case by case basis, it may not. So I suppose it's difficult when it comes to adults, but you know, children, it's less, I suppose.
I can only speak because I've worked in an environment where, well, I was the boss, and part of my task is to make sure I've got the best team available. And if there's someone that wasn't cutting the mustard, as they said, I would be the one that would have to reach the point, do I fire them or not? Well, that in itself is an intimidating process. So
it is,
I don't know. It's quite a tricky one. My sort of gut reaction to that is it's the NHS. That shouldn't be this happens in industry.
Yeah.
It shouldn't happen in the NHS.
No, not at all.
So, I'm not going to talk any more about that as such, but you kind of get the drift of what I think about that. But
I think it's great. The point is it's good that the system is there for academies and schooling in general. I think that's the
generally
key.
It's been quite good in the schools. I don't know how independent schools I mentioned earlier. I don't know how they would manage because the infrastructure. I mean, I'm sitting here. Funny enough, I've got staff training today.
Right.
COVID-19. So it's bizarrely enough, this is my bedtime reading. But I need to be certain if I'm called back in. I don't even know when I'm going back into school. I know the year 10s and 12s are going back in. I know that classes have already been remodeled so that they're only going to do maths, English and science, as far as I'm aware. They're not even going to be doing my subject yet. I don't even think I'm going back to September. I don't even know if that's an answer yet. But I do know that the model risk assessment that was put in place is a standard model risk assessment that I would do in my workshop. So it's no different. And they've applied that to the school. So, what can you say? Are we going back or not?
Well, yeah, interesting subject. Well, Graham, what about you? I mean, you've been working all the way through, pretty much, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I have. Yeah, all night shifts. So it's been pretty normal, with the exception of not being able to go like long journeys.
You mentioned earlier, Graham, about your concerns about anxieties. I probably could take that quite a bit further because it's quite different now that we're in lockdown. I don't have the same. I would see those students day in, day out. So, I mean, I'm a father myself, and when it's bizarre because people often said, "How do you feel about your students?" And I said, "Well, while I'm there during the day, in some respects, I almost feel like I'm a bit of a foster dad, because for that moment in time, I see them with I would offer them exactly the same sort of care and attention as I would my own. And I'd expect, I don't know if maybe it's just me, but I'd expect that from most people. If you had a friend's child around your home, you'd give them the same sort of responsibilities as a parent of your own. You'd look after them the same way. If anything went wrong, you'd expect the sort of care to be put in place. I can't. It's very difficult to see that. These children are at a distance now. I'm working online, and I know that the school are we phone. We make regular phone calls. We don't have another system in place, so we phone them up, ask them how they're doing. We have a messaging system, and you kind of asked us a little bit earlier, Graham, about you was talking. I think it was leading into how is it working for us now, because we didn't get into that.
Yeah.
It's all online. I'm at home. The system I'm sitting at now, fortunately, is my video editing suite, so it's quite nice. It means I can get all my classes up on the computer screens. But
that's something I wanted to touch on. That's something I want to touch on.
Okay, we don't forget that question. We'll save that.
Yeah, please do. Because well, no, you carry on. No, you carry on, because I want to talk to you before we go too much further. I want to talk to you about your video editing. But no, sorry, I do apologise. You carry on.
That's okay. And we're using Google Classroom, and a lot of schools are. It's a excellent system in as much as it enables us to communicate with the students. It's got messaging services on there, a bit like social media, but it's obviously built so that the students have their school login. It's immediate. So the same as their school logins that they had is now been transferred to Google Classroom. So they just go home. They log into Google with their school account and their password, and it gets them into the system. And then I can actually upload class lessons onto the system, which is great. They can see all their lessons and they can read through it and work through it. And for quite a lot of them, they're doing reasonably well. But again, it goes back to what I said earlier. It's quite a struggle. You also
it's adapting, isn't it? You're having to adapt from a classroom environment. To and you haven't got that visual interaction with the student.
No. There's the visual bit that's the tricky bit. I'd be lying if I said I thought it was going as well as I'd like it to go. Year 11s, they've already left. They should be doing exams now, so their timetable was finished. But March, before their exams, it was very difficult to motivate them. There's been huge issues. All I can think about at the moment, it's nothing to do with my school, but I've been following a story from a school local to me here in Tunbridge Wells, and there's a lad that committed suicide. It was only 4 weeks ago. His funeral was last week, and it's very difficult when you're reading social media stories in your local area. There's no one knows why. No one knows for sure what had upset him, but I in my head, you have to believe that it has. This is a difficult time, and it can't have helped.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. Tough. No, well, schooling is tough, regardless of what level of education you're at. I mean, it's quite demanding, isn't it? And it needs to be, obviously, for various reasons. But it can be, and I think that's where the anxiety comes from, isn't it? Or can come from.
Well, part of the anxiety is the schools are very demanding today. If you want to get a career in a particular path, if you're lucky enough, the young students don't always know what they want to do, but the ones that are lucky enough that know what they want to do, immediately they'll start looking at certain subject areas, and they've got a career path that they put in place. And if they fall off that, it's really difficult to pick them up. It's like to a young person, it's like the end of the world. It's not until you get to my age and you've had so many different jobs that you start to think, well, you know what, I've done all right. I've actually been quite happy with my life. It's not until you get to here you think, you know, I fell over too many times. It was the getting up, actually. It was fun. But
yeah. That's a good way to look at it, folks, isn't it? Yeah. If you have a situation where, you know, you're down, then pick yourself up and try again, as they say, isn't it? And it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it.
Wait, if you can. Some people don't cope with it, though.
No. Well, life's a struggle.
I mean, structure. I mean, the students are used to, obviously, the structure within the school. And all of a sudden that's taken away. Talking to a computer screen or on the end of a phone is not the same.
It's not, but Graham, I think you touched on something. I mean, that's what it's like going to be for all of us, not just for the youngsters and the children and going up through the years, but even for us adults. I mean, you know, we're going to go back to a working life or a schooling life, which is going to be like almost hitting the reset button. There's going to be so many different routines and procedures for all of us.
Life skills. I mean, it's okay for the likes of you and I and Lee. We've got the necessary life skills, but the young students, they're barely starting out in life.
It is a very difficult one. I'm always trying to tell them. Here's a good example to put on the back of that. This happens more than once. I can remember. Bird flu was a brilliant one. I don't even know if you guys are old enough for bird flu, but
yeah, we remember that.
Was it about 2008? I don't know. All I remember was walking into a classroom. We're all going to die. What the heck are you talking about? You're all going to die? Because that's how the news had come across to them. It was a year 8 format at the time. And all of a sudden you're there going, oh, crikey. And you've got this mad situation you've got to deal with these sort of year 8 students. What are they, 12, 13? And the news has told them they're going to die. And it has in many words. And then we say, right, how many people have died? 5. Right. In what sort of area? The whole country. Right, okay, so you're going to die because 5 people have died in the whole country. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, right. Okay, let's get real about it. And you really have to, all those parts of the teaching part, that people don't see that side of it. And suddenly you've got to deal with this scenario where you've got to unpack it. And the same's happened this time round. You can't really, I mean, I try my hardest. I don't think I express my opinions. What I try to do is question their thinking to make them think of a range of scenarios so that they can measure it up for themselves.
Yeah.
Something I did for this situation was all I had to go by was what the government was saying, and the government had taken a policy, what they call a herd immunity policy.
Yeah.
And understanding that, I said, okay, guys, I sat to them, I had to talk to them in the classroom because the conversation was massive. There's a pandemic. So this was quite a scary thing as well. So this is the herd mentality. You're all probably going to get it. We have to start with that thought process. That's actually the thinking mentality behind it. And then I said, okay, so how many of you here have got like underlying health problems? Well, bizarrely enough, the 2 that had underlying health problems in my class had already isolated at home. And it was quite nice how the process went, where we were explaining the whole scenario, and you put them at ease and you say, well, you're probably going to get it. How many of you are going to die from that then? Probably none of you. Probably none of you. That's the reality of it. I think it was something like 0.04% for that age group or something crazy. And out of that 0.04% are those with underlying health problems.
Yeah.
So I said, you're all going to be fine. From that, you're all going to be fine. And then obviously I had to explain the pandemic scenario that the government were trying to say. So it looks like we're going into lockdown. That's what they're talking about. Because obviously that was before they'd all left then. I actually said, I think it'll be another week and you might be going home at the weekend. I think it finished on the Wednesday in the end, or Thursday. I can't remember exactly. It cut short. It didn't make it to the weekend.
Yeah. It's a Wednesday, wasn't it?
I think it was a Wednesday. And I'm in a workshop. I'm lucky. So I actually drilled a little hole in a plastic cup and put it on the sink. And I said, right, this is how many people the hospital can take. And then I got a bowl of water, and I said, here's a bowl of water. That's the population of the country. And proportionately, I probably need a bigger bowl. And I started pouring the water in really quickly, and it overspilled. And I said, the thing is, with something like this, you're all going to get ill. If you're all going to get ill at the same time, you're going to want a hospital bed, and you want someone to look after you. And there's just not enough hospital beds. It's as simple as that. And I said, and that's what the government are trying to do. They want you to go home. They want you to be safe. And then if you do need a hospital bed, they want to make sure there's one for you. And that was really what I was trying to explain. And then I poured the water in slowly. And I said, if we can get the water going slowly, well, the hole I drilled was to say, these people are getting better.
Yeah.
So as long as we pour it in slowly enough, then they can get treated and we can get a lot more people better. And that's how I tried to explain it. But there's nothing more you can do.
No, and that's a very good way of explaining it, isn't it? In the most logicalist way possible. Yeah. That's fantastic.
I mean, I know other countries have adopted different strategies. I don't know which one's right or wrong. I don't think we'll know for certain in a year or two. Who knows? Who's to say that the pandemic for other countries isn't going to come back and hit them harder?
Well, Lee, what worries me, and I don't want to get into the politics of it, certainly, but I mean, just to the point of seeing what's happening in London. So we're seeing large crowds, and it is a fear. Matt Hancock, the Home Secretary, was talking about the fear of the coronavirus, and it's not gone away. And it does make you wonder about the second peak, which we hope we would never see. However, we ask ourselves, could we see it, given the numbers that we're seeing gathering? And it's not just London, is it? They are moving around, these protesters. They have to, naturally, to get to London. Presumably they're not starting from London. So it's quite a worry, isn't it? I mean,
I think you'll find there are protests organised in different areas.
Yes.
I've got I'm originally from Hertfordshire. I'm in Kent now, but I'm originally from Hertfordshire, and I've just been sent a flyer that they're organising a protest. I forget where it was, somewhere in Hertfordshire. I can't remember where it was, but it was near where my old hometown.
Right.
So that's going to be organised in the town. I hope they'll keep their distance, and I hope it'll be peaceful.
Yeah.
And I mean, personally, I think I've got no problem with the process. I think it's an important process, and people have got an opinion that needs to be shared. But I don't think they have a right to be doing some of the things that have been happening recently, which is really upsetting. And bizarrely, annoyingly, it will undermine the whole point of the campaign, that the argument that they're trying to fight for. It'll actually undermine it. It'll do the opposite.
Well, yes, exactly. I think so too. I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, so that's great, and thanks, Lee. It has been a great evening, hasn't it, Graham? We have.
Have I answered your questions, Graham?
Yes, I believe you have. Yes, we've skated around them, but we've got the questions answered.
Oh, jolly good. I should have been a politician. Maybe I should have been a politician. I skated around them.
Well, maybe you should have been. Yes, skate around them.
Yeah, but that might have something to do with
Ben. I thought you was going to ask me something. You
way.
was going to ask me a different question, though. Ben, what was that about?
The question.
Something about filming.
Oh, it was. I'm glad we've got you, really. No, well,
actually, I'm not writing this down, but I do listen.
No, I know you do, and in fact, I have got it written down here. And but you were doing so well, I got distracted.
Right.
But I just wanted to point out that about the fact that you know very much within the technology area of camera work, and I figured maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Well, it's an accident is the answer to that. My degree is, I'm a product design and engineering degree student. So it kind of lent it. I'm a furniture designer originally by trade.
Yeah.
Before I even did my degree. I did my degree when I was 30.
Is that same as joinery? You say furnishing design?
No, well, no, actually. I used to work on the trading floors in banks and building societies across Europe.
Yeah.
So where you see them buying stocks and shares, they are bespoke, specialised pieces of furniture. And I used to
we might have a job coming your direction then, mate.
Really? What do you need?
Yeah, we're thinking about.
I don't do it anymore.
A nice sort of like cocktail bar or something.
Yeah, that sounds like a laugh. It's not what I did though, but no. Does it need air conditioning? And will you have sort of special plasma telephone systems built into it?
Anything and everything. We want spotlights. We want Everything. Yeah.
Okay, no, but yeah. So that was my first job. But back to the film.
Yeah.
How did you do that? Talk
I'll
about
get you the measurements later.
All right.
What we want, so.
We'll have a look. But the filming was. I've got two daughters that are amazing dancers. There's no other word for it.
Yeah.
My youngest one graduated at Bird College, and if anyone's a dancer out there, they'll immediately, if you mention Bird College, they go, "Oh, that's one of the places that they all want to get to."
Right.
And she was really good. I say was. She's chosen to sort of move away. She's going to go into physiotherapy, which is great. But what happened is 15 years ago, probably a dance show, and someone let them down. They were going to film it, and I went, "Yeah, I can film it." I'd only just started a film club at the school. Another bizarre circumstance where, as a teacher, a new teacher at the time, you're ticking boxes, and they said, "Well, one of the things you ought to do is start a club." I went, "Oh, I don't know what club to start. We're already making bikes and things in the workshop, and you want me to start another club?" And it just so happened we had a camcorder in one of the drawers. And so I went around the school and said, "How many camcorders have we got in the school?" And we had about 6 or 7 camcorders, and no one ever used them, from what I could make out. So I said, "Oh, we'll have a film club then." So before I knew it, on one Friday evening, I'm running this film club, and why do they always want to make a zombie film? But anyway, they're all making on the field making a zombie film. And at the end of the day, I've chucked the cameras in the boot of the car, left it. I thought I'll sort them out Monday. Saturday though, there's no film crew to film my daughter's dance show. I've got 7 cameras in the boot, haven't I? So I'm grabbing the kids. I'm saying, "Hold this camera here, hold this camera. I'm on dancing in a minute. That's okay. We'll get another. I'll grab another kid. You hold this camera." And we just filmed the thing with these cameras. During that summer holiday, because the show was like the last sort of couple of weeks of the term, during the summer holiday, I bought the Adobe Suite. I taught myself how to use it, and I edited a dance show. And then I gave it back to them in the September, October time, and it sold very well. And they went, "Oh wow, are you going to do next year's one?" I went, "Yeah."
Wow.
And then that's how my film company started.
That's brilliant.
Before I knew it, there was other schools saying, "Can you do our show?" And yeah, that was 15 years ago. So yeah, that's my other business. It's partly why I'm just a teacher. I've been a head of department, but I'm kind of going backwards a bit now. I like my spare time at the weekends to film. Although, yeah, there's nothing happening at the moment, is there?
No,
I specialise in dance shows, and there's no theatres open.
No, that's true. But I suppose you got.
But does that answer your question? What was your
Yes.
question? That's how filming happened for me.
It's brilliant. It does.
And yeah, self-taught. It's no different to designing. I asked the school what they wanted. I wrote a design brief, and I produced what they asked for, which apparently a lot of film companies don't seem to do.
But the thing is as well, it's very good to hear a story like that, Lee, because you're sort of multi-talented, multi-skilled. The fact is you work for the company, but also you're giving them something that was never really part of the contract, but it's a bit of an added extra for them. You know what I mean? You're producing filming for them. You're making it, you put them on the map.
Yeah, if you like.
Yeah.
I've never thought about it like that. I've got.
It's like a mechanic,
clients.
isn't it? It's like a mechanic.
Clients now, but like a mechanic. What's a mechanic do then?
Well, you know, like a mechanic, he goes to work and he fixes cars for a living.
Yeah.
But
and
he
then he goes to fix the plug. What do you mean?
Yeah. or he goes and fixes someone's door or something, multi-skill. You know what I mean? I don't know.
That's a chippy. I can do that.
2 different things, isn't they? He could have been a plumber.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, mechanic and a plumber.
A mechanic and a plumber. All right, maybe.
It's on the same level, though, wouldn't you say, Graham?
No.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, you got him trained, haven't you?
Yeah.
What the heck? Sorry.
Well, it has been good. I've really enjoyed myself. And Lee, it's been a real pleasure to have you on. And
thank you, Ben and Graham.
No, I think it's really good. I think many people and many schools can take advantage of skill in the desire and skill that you have. I think it would be quite beneficial to many schools to have not only a teacher, but have somebody that can also do added bits on the side. You know, I mean, that's dedication.
I'm a design teacher. I'm a designer at heart. I'm still the desk I'm sitting at, I only designed a few weeks ago because we're in lockdown. I thought, what am I going to do? I need a desk. And my wife gave me a design criteria.
Wow.
She said,
There you go.
I need to fit a double bed in that room, and you can use it in an office. So when the grandchildren come round, I want that your office has to be able to convert into a bed. I went, right, okay. So what I'm actually sitting at converts into a headboard. So
It's amazing.
and there's a bed underneath it that pulls out.
So during lockdown, then you'll be able to free some time up to design.
Yeah, I hear you. How big is this bar? You got a lot of space for it. I shouldn't be building bars because the problem with a bar is you never get out of it.
Probably you can't hold the camera straight. That's the other thing.
Let me have a think of this. Let me have a think. I'll have a think. Yeah.
Graham, can you tell the viewers what you mean by this bar? Because you've got me intrigued now.
Oh, it's just a set. I'm thinking of a set for the show.
Oh, now he tells us. Well, I think we should ask the viewers. What do you think, viewers? Do you think we should have a bar as a set for the show?
I think you should have done what I did.
Go on.
I go online, go to live webs. I was looking at live webs earlier, and you can go down the Benidorm High Street. I'm not sure I should be talking about that street, but that's where the bars are. But it's empty at the moment. But you can. There's you get webcams all over the world. You just get one pointing in the bar somewhere. I'm sure you could find one. Isn't that all you need?
Yes, you do.
That's all you need. This footage behind me now, it's just a bit of live footage. It's a webcam I recorded earlier in Croatia.
Look at this. Oh, who would have thought? Do you know,
that lady's walked past there 100 times already.
I think she has. Lee, I was just going to ask you what you're doing in Morocco, but it's not, is it?
No, it's Croatia.
Yeah, Croatia. Wow, I've always wanted to go there. There you go. Virtual.
Oh dear, how funny.
Yeah, that's a great idea. What an idea. Do you know what? That comes back to an idea I think you've spoken about previously, Lee, wasn't it? About being in a certain country and talking within that country. That's how you do it.
Well, yeah, or do you want me to go somewhere else? I'll tell you what, I'll brought Caribbean. How's that? How's that work for you?
We've got David Blaine here now.
David Blaine?
Yeah.
Well, you told me filming and things is my thing. Therefore, yeah, you must have realised that I could just switch backgrounds. I'm in the Caribbean. That's nice, isn't it?
It is.
Oh, it's gorgeous. I mean,
it is.
I've got.
Shall we? Let's try. I don't know. Where's good for this? Norway's probably good for the Northern Lights. So
yes, it is. Yeah, most northern part of the.
I've got that one as well.
Yeah. Well, some of us got different ones, but I only put a couple on there earlier, so I run out.
Yeah. Can I just tell you something about camera work and the Northern Lights? You'll be interested in this, Lee, and probably you'll know this, and you might be able to explain it in much more depth. When I went to Iceland, for those of you that didn't know, last year. Was it no, it might have been this year. It was beginning of the year, wasn't it? Yeah. And I remember going on the Northern Lights tour. Fantastic.
Yeah. Did you see the Northern Lights? Because it's not always reliable, is it?
It's not. Anyway, I'll talk to you about the rest of the holiday another day. But let's just say about the Northern Lights. We got there, and it was a 50-50 chance of seeing it. And they said the weather's good. We might have a good chance. We didn't see it, sadly. But we were told now everybody sees the Northern Lights as like you're seeing it on your screen, Lee, right? And we were told, and I don't know how true it was, but we were told upon the tour that actually the Northern Lights don't actually become seen to the eye quite like that. It's actually camera work that can actually have the effect of the different colours. Now,
if you'd seen it, you'd be able to tell me.
Well, I wish I could.
My brother-in-law's seen them. I'll have to ask him.
Yeah.
I forget where he went to see it, but he works in travel, so he's so annoying. He was it last year? He phones up. He'll phone up when he's somewhere brilliant. So he phones up, and I can hardly hear. And I'm going, "What the heck's that racket? Look at the camera. It looks like Duran Duran. Yeah, it is. What do you mean you're watching Duran? Where are you? Hawaii. What sort of job have you got, mate? You know what I mean?"
Wow.
So, yeah, he's got a job and a half, hasn't he? Although, I do like winding him up at the moment because travel. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
yeah, no, so he gets all those nice numbers, but right now he's really...
So, Lee, can I ask you a very important question?
Yes.
How many conversations you've had over the phone in the last month over this?
Over what?
Well, phoning you up in random places. I mean, assumably that's not happening at the minute.
Try that again. Throw the question again.
So you were saying about your brother. You're saying about your brother, and he phoned you up.
Brother-in-law, but yeah.
Yeah, brother-in-law. Now that helps.
Yeah.
Well, actually, because the lockdown is where we are,
Yeah.
you're not flying out anywhere, are you?
No, no one is.
So he hasn't been phoning you in random places telling you that he's got Duran Duran.
No, he's been quiet.
Right, that's my point. Oh dear.
Yeah, no, he's like gone off the planet. Who is
Oh.
he?
Wow.
Yeah,
Do you know
no,
what?
What?
Do you think it'll ever be possible to make a phone call from Mars or from the moon? Do you think we'll ever get there?
Well, it hasn't been done.
Has it been done?
Well, Houston, we've landed. Isn't that? No. But the thing is,
Oh, Ben.
do you mean human from Mars?
I just think it's possible.
Well, they've landed on
Satellite.
Mars, haven't they? So is that data signal back from Mars? Is that communication? Is that not what you meant?
But yeah, well, maybe I should
Why
reword
is
it.
Ben headless? Yeah, go
Yeah,
on.
I'm not talking about getting out your Nokia, I suppose. Well, I think I probably was, but you're not going to get reception, are you? I wouldn't imagine that in particular, that the airwaves would be so powerful.
I had no idea how long the signal would take.
No.
I've not a clue. I'd have to look into it and find out, but I don't know the answer.
No,
But
I
it's
don't
pretty
know.
impressive. I mean, when I was watching telly as a young lad, they would do phone conversations to the other side of the world, and you'd have to wait a couple of seconds for a reply. Now you don't notice that delay anymore with
No, you don't.
satellite and fibre optics and all the other sorts of communication. You can talk to someone on the other side of the world, and it's an instant conversation. So who knows? It's already improved. It's already better.
It is.
And the technology is fascinating now, and batteries are a fascinating thing as well.
But interestingly enough, it was actually good in the 50s and 60s, wasn't it? To those that had the money, I suppose. Like you say, with NASA.
Was it?
Well,
I was just watching something on the telly earlier before I came online here. 1950s. They put a family into a 1950s room, and they were going. The girl goes, "Where's the telly?" And it's a radio. It's a radio, and it's what? Well, no telly. No. It's like, well, what would you do to entertain yourself? And there's a piano. Play the piano. And it's just like, what else? What do we do with our time then?
Yeah.
We've got a puzzle. And it was like, she couldn't get around it. And then often I've spoke to the kids at school as well, going sort of full circle. They'll say, they'll talk to me about their Xbox and PlayStation games. What did you do when you were a lad? And then I say, well, actually, I went out in the woods with my knife and made a bow and arrow probably, or something like that. That's what I used to do. Yeah. And they can't believe that I would have a penknife for a start.
Well, yeah.
So who knows?
Who knows? I mean, I was thinking on the lines of, well, they had like NASA. Well, we heard, Neil Armstrong. He went to the moon, didn't he? And he had that technology to call back to Earth. Obviously, it wasn't readily available to the general folk of the town and the cities and the country in general, was it? But it did exist. The sound quality and ability did exist, didn't it?
Yes.
So
he spoke to Control. There you go.
Yeah.
So what do you say?
That was even going back as far as the 50s.
I've lost this conversation. Where's this going now?
It's not going anywhere, actually. Has anybody noticed that?
It's somewhere in the airwaves. It's just like floating
There you
about.
go.
It's coming back from Mars, Graham, isn't it?
Yeah.
But no, I think it's been quite an in-depth conversation. I think it's been pretty good, don't you think?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, we've been talking about all sorts of things.
About something different next time, eh?
Yeah.
Lee, just before we do wrap this up, I do want to get something a little bit clear in my mind. So this idea, I mean, maybe phone a friend. I mean, as I say, but I mean, I don't think I can sleep at night tonight, particularly if I don't know how the Northern Lights exists. So I know how it works. I know
that have to research it.
Well, they're behind Lee now. Look, you can see.
Yeah,
them.
they are. But what I mean is it what we're seeing on the screen? No,
look.
I mean, is it?
You've seen the movie? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is it Bug's Life? I don't know.
Yeah.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, that's me.
Remember that?
Technology.
No, but guys, is it just white light? Is it cameras that are picking up what we are seeing? I mean, anybody on the chat, can anybody tell if they've seen the Northern Lights?
I haven't seen it. However, get someone to answer. And more importantly, light is a brilliant thing anyway, because it will diffract. It will actually separate in its different colours. So if there is a white light shining across anything, if it's got some sort of and it is liquid, and it'll split the colours. I mean, after all, that's how they tell how far the stars are away, by measuring the red displacement of the light.
Yes.
That's how they do it. They measure the displacement of the red light, and then that tells them how far away a star is.
Well, we were told to look at the Northern Lights when we were at the tour. We were told, sorry to get back onto Northern Lights, everyone. We were told to look through the lens of our phones on the camera, and he had us set up our cameras in such a way that would make it easier to see. Which I thought was this actually just camera trickery, or when they say Northern Lights, is it something that you can readily see with the eye? You know, and so, but because we never saw it that night.
No, but you can see it with the eye. That
you can. Yeah. That's good. That's good to know.
Whatever.
Oh, there you go. Learn something every day. Even if you folks haven't learned anything, I think you can say clearly, I did. Thank you very much. What about you, Graham? That was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed the information that I've received. It's given me something to think about tonight. Keep me
instead of those Mickey Mouse ears, yeah.
Oh yes, yeah.
Wow. They got to go, haven't they, Graham? What do you think, folks? They got to go, haven't they? They got to go.
Oh yes, well, we've got something to produce later, haven't we, on our screen, so that people see for a future idea that's going to be in the online store, the Ben&Grem online store.
Yes, yeah, well, that's coming merchandise, but there's something a little bit more pressing that I think I need to just tackle with Lee, because we've got a comment come in, and it's actually from Lisa Terry. Lisa says, Lee, she says, quick one for Lee. What's your view on the Kent test and the grammar tests still going ahead?
I don't actually teach in Kent, but the Kent test, is she referring to some of the schools? Is it like an aptitude test, I think? I think some of the schools are offering an aptitude test. What's my opinion of it?
Yes.
I think all state schools should be the same.
There you go, Lisa.
I think that should answer it. I've never understood how schools should offer an aptitude test, but that's just my opinion. I don't know what's right or wrong is the truth of it. Some people think that they're getting a better school, I think, because of selection. And if they can get into certain schools based upon selection, they're getting more for their children. And I don't think you can argue that that's what people want or think they're getting. I don't know if it's right or wrong. I don't know the answer is the truth. But I don't think it makes them. I don't think it makes the schools fair if there is any form of difference between them. They're provided by the taxpayer, so it's just my opinion. I always thought they should all be the same.
And Lisa's just come back. She says, thanks. You share the same view. So, yeah, great stuff. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks for the question. Thanks, Lee, for explaining that one.
Thank you.
Yeah, it has been great. And we've learned a lot today. And not only have we learned about Northern Lights, but I think we've learned about the ecosystem, how things work, and also filming. And it's nice to hear a story, because actually you find sometimes you go through life and you don't know what you're going to do with life. And some people do want a career, but don't tend to follow a path. And they find themselves doing something they never thought they'd do. It's like those conversations you have with people where they say about, I never thought I'd ever be in an office. But, funnily enough, they end up working in an office, and it's not just that, but it's also like maybe working in a factory. Some people say, I won't work in retail, I won't work in a factory, and yet they do. It's amazing, isn't it? You get some of these people that stray off, but actually they do enjoy, doing a particular line of work that they thought they'd never want to do. So it's an interesting story, but that's great, Lee. So would you have said, going back sort of 5-6 years prior to doing your film work and to schooling, do you think that would ever have been something that would have crossed your mind? I mean, was it just a experiment thing? Yeah.
I've answered that. I think it was an accident, pure accident. I just happened to come across some cameras on a Friday with some kids that had to do a club. On the Saturday, the film crew didn't turn up. I filmed it. I gave them a DVD. I didn't know what it was supposed to look like. I did something that had sort of 7 cameras running and all these different camera angles. They thought it was something like off the BBC. They'd never seen anything like it before, and I've been doing it ever since. That's kind of what happened.
Wow, natural hidden talent.
I'm a designer.
Yeah. Well, I suppose you already had the tools there, you know what I mean? But then I don't suppose you thought it was going to go quite like that.
Not filming. Filming was never on my mind. I've got a brother-in-law that did performing arts. It's about as close as I ever got to to perhaps something that was entertaining.
Yeah, no, that's great.
So-
Well, there you go. If you want anything done, if you're out and about and you're a band, or I don't know, do you do bands? Yes, well, music, isn't it?
I've done some bands. There was I've done a few little bands are tricky things to do because people don't tend to. It's weird because the local bands it's about demand.
Yes.
I do dance schools. I prefer performing arts schools because they'll do a theatre show. They'll have a couple of hundred or so seats in there. That's a couple of hundred or so potential purchases of a DVD,
Right.
or whatever format they want to buy it on.
I got
So
you.
if I can sell 200 items, I can then recoup the money. I can film it for free and recoup the money that way.
Yes.
For a band, last couple of times I've done bands, I've had to charge them, and it's not so easy to pick up bands, especially new bands. They haven't got any money, let's be honest.
No, that's a sad shame, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can just sort of imagine as well, it might be, I mean, all musicians move around, don't they, on the stage, and bands, I suppose, depending on what sort of music they are no different. But yeah, I get you, because I used to follow the bands, some of the bands locally some years ago, and I agree, they go around afterwards with their prepaid or pre-made.
Funny you say that.
Music.
I love music. I'm really excited. I haven't played this yet. Sports Team. It's my latest purchase. I'm just going to promote it right now. The DVD. This is their first album. They've only just produced it. They're called Sports Team, and I spotted them. I don't know. I play Amazon random music stuff where they just go to the next local thing. They're a London band. They're actually, I say they're a London band. I think they're Cambridge graduates, and they've put a band together. And I just liked what I listened to. They're current, they're new. So yeah, I love music, and I'm always listening. And yeah, I've got so much stuff downstairs. There's so much stuff downstairs that's current that you probably have never heard of.
Well, you can't beat a local band, can you? I used to follow some years ago. I used to follow a band called Talon. Lee, do you remember Talon? Ever heard of Talon? They did up at Tunbridge a few times. They were quite travelling. They did a lot of travelling.
But when you say a few years ago, I've been in Tunbridge Wells for 5 years, and then prior to that, nowhere near here. The bands I knew were going to the Forum in Harlow or whatever it was called.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I can't remember. Not the Forum. The Forum's here. I can't think what the ones Harlow's called now.
Well, Talon used to be a band that would travel around Kent, and but not just confined to Kent. But that's kind of where they came from, Sittingbourne, I believe. But the band was move around everywhere, and I remember being what they refer to as a roadie. You know, somebody who'd get in the back of the truck or van and go with the kit and help them unload and all this sort of thing. It was a bit of a, and I loved it. And they did a lot of old school. I say old school, but like, I don't know, they did a lot of covers, and they were really, really good. You know, like when you get a song and you listen to a song on a headphone, which is a song where, it's what's the word now? It's like,
well, I know your taste because we were talking the other day about Imagine Dragons and that style of music. So I know that's what your taste. And I wanted to go and see last month, cancelled obviously. I wanted to go and see Foals last month. Still got my tickets. I've got to wait now till next year when they rebook it. But then this month I want to go and see Tom Jones.
Wow. Still going, isn't he? Tom Jones?
Still going. Oh yeah.
Amazing. Is on the subject, is Elvis, not Elvis, we know about Elvis.
Yeah, he's still going. Oh yeah.
He's still playing. Oh yeah, he's still being played.
Yeah.
Elton John. Is he still writing and playing?
I presume so. He's still around.
Yeah.
I'm sure he is. Why do you ask the question? It's random.
I don't know. You were just talking about bands, and I was thinking about
that's a question for my wife because he was never my favourite. I'm a Bowie fan, and I always remember when he did his Let's Dance album, and he was talking about in his interview. It always stuck his interview when because we're talking about sort of early to mid 80s.
Yeah,
and he went, I knew I had to change. I knew something had to change when I had all the Elton John fans at my concert. That's what he said. And so it became very poppy and commercial at that point, and he didn't like it.
Well, I envy you, Lee, because we had a discussion the other week, didn't we, about how you went to see Depeche Mode.
I've seen them a couple of times.
I've seen them in the sort of later part of their career, but I'm quite sad to know that I hadn't seen them in the sort of 80s period.
82 and 83, I think.
Yeah, that would have been something else. So,
Excellent. In the days when you couldn't get on the ferry home, I lived on the Isle of Wight then. I told
go
you
on,
before.
please tell the viewers.
And the only way home was to catch the mail boat, which is it's not actually an official ferry. It's the one that they put this big net on, and they drop all the mail onto the boat that they take to the island. And the only way we used to have to leap off the pier to get on the boat, and that's how we used to get home. About 2:30 in the morning, I think it used to go past. So it was the only way. We'd be stuck because the concert would end after the last ferry. So, and we were going every other weekend with Gary Newman and Japan. I went to Japan so many times. That was my band of the day.
Japan, they were a good band, yeah.
Fabulous. But they only really had, they had 5 albums, I suppose, that's sort of notable. The first 2 were their punk style. And then they moved into the new romantic. And then the last one, sort of Tin Drum, was when they were really trying to explore something quite new. Yeah. And then they went their own separate ways.
Sad, isn't it?
I've still followed them. Them.
You know, I've always found it interesting of a band like, talking about music, Joy Division. I mean, how they've gone from being, all thrashing.
I bought Joy. Funny enough, I listened to it now and think, it's not so enjoyable. I really loved it when it came out in 78 or 9 or whenever I can't remember when it was now. It was just before the 80s, because it was kind of the thing. It was like, wow,
very dark, isn't it?
Yeah. And,
was that Geordie Vision or Chuckle Vision?
Geordie Division, yeah.
Chuckle Vision?
Good.
Chuckle Brothers?
Joy Division.
Became New Order.
Joy.
Yeah, well, a couple of them went on to New Order. I went to see New Order as well. Sorry.
Wow. See, this is it, isn't it? Unbelievable. It's not fair.
In the days of Blue Monday.
Blue Monday, yeah. Wow. I have to say I'm gutted because I wish I was. I say I wish I was. I'm happy how things are now. You've got to appreciate life for what it's worth. But we really wish I grew up in the sort of 80s, because me personally, I do really like the 80s music. And I remember when me and my father, we went to...
But there's some great bands now. Last year or the year before, was it last year? I went to Arcade Fire. Fabulous, that was.
Oh, right. Okay.
Really enjoyed that. Sorry.
No, it's interesting. I have to look them up. There you go, guys. Arcade Fire.
Look them up. They're brilliant. I've got all their albums here.
All of them. I'll have a look. But no, we went to this concert, and we were talking about like this last boat home. The mail boat. Well, me and my father, I remember having this conversation like it was yesterday. You remember these when you were growing up, and he said these very words to me, right? Because it was "Never Let Me Down Again" was coming up, but one of the songs Depeche Mode to play, and I loved that. And he said, right, they're going to play this, but if we don't go now, bear in mind we're in Wembley. If we don't go, no, it wasn't Wembley, it was O2. If we don't go now, we're not getting home. I went, right, but we ended up staying.
Yeah.
Missed the train, so we ended up trying to kip in the Charing Cross station, and they threw us out, understandably, because they shut things up.
Yeah.
So me and my dad, we sort of looked at each other, and he went, well, now what? And we were fine. We were level-headed. We were so buzzing anyway.
Get a bus.
Yeah. Well, actually,
I love the night bus. I used to love the night bus. Sorry. I've been to London. I used to go to London. One of the bands, we went to London, because bear in mind, I'm on the Isle of Wight. And some of the biggest bands were in London. I wanted to go see a band. They weren't touring as such, but they were doing random tours. And there was a band called Shriekback. Yes. That was the early 80s. And I wanted to go and see them. So we went, and it was in London at the Lyceum.
Wow.
And we had no idea how we were getting home. Definitely wasn't a ferry.
Well, we got home in a car, but I'm pretty sure the guy just picked up his license, because no word of a lie. Honestly, red lights didn't exist, not in his eyes. He was straight through them, honestly. And it was quite ironic, because I remember he quoted a price, and there was a couple, an older couple, as I say older couple, married couple, they were middle-aged. That's irrelevant. But they walked past, and they said, oh, wasn't it a great show? And they said, yeah, we've been there. And they were saying, oh, we can't get home. And then all of a sudden, this guy pulls up outside. And then he pulls up, and it was like, I think it was an escort, white escort, but it looked like it was on its last legs, it's hanging off it and all sorts.
Yeah, I've had one of them.
Yeah, so we thought, do we really want to do this? But we all did it, right? So bear in mind, we just met this couple. So we said, look, we'll all go in together. We'll all throw it in. We'll all chip in. That'll get us home. Where are you going? Oh, we're going to Dover. Yes, we're going to Dover. Well, that was just so ironic. So anyway, we've gone from London to Dover, but he's gone through every single lie. And every time he did so, all I remember is him swearing.
What, for the lights? That would be his excuse when the police pulled him up? I'm sorry, I blinked and I was too busy swearing.
Yeah, he was. And I remember my dad sitting in the back, and I was thinking, I'm petrified. I don't know what Dad's feeling here. But I remember us flying down these roads, and I thought we were on a 999 call. Anyway, we made it. We made it to Dover. When we got to Dover, we got to Whitfield. We were coming down Whitfield Hill, and the gentleman the driver wanted more money. And so the women, the lady and her husband said, well, we're getting out here anyway, because we were sort of top half of Dover anyway. So we said, well, yeah, we'll join you. So we gave him what he initially asked. I think it was 120 quid. It was crazy money, but back then, but it was what he wanted. So we paid it to him because we needed to get home. And we walked from one side of Dover to the other, but it didn't matter because we were buzzing by then. We knew we were already in Dover. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
But, we talked about it, and we've always talked about it. It was one of those stories we talk about.
It's one of those stories.
It's a story.
It's got to be done.
It has. So just be careful of that white escort, ladies and gentlemen. If you go to London.
Reminds me of Egypt.
Yeah.
We paid we was in Hurghada and we paid for a trip. It must be, it's a good 150 miles to get to Luxor, maybe a bit more.
Yeah.
And we paid for this trip and we're literally leaving at the crack of dawn, this beaten up old sort of people carrier, like a space cruiser type thing.
Yeah.
I don't even know what model it was. I couldn't. They've got more dent. If you ever been to Egypt, you'll know what I mean. Because the cars, you can't work out what the car is anymore. They're full of dents. Everything's dented. They're bumper cars. They're not cars at all. And we got in it, and there's other people in there as well, and they're all English speaking. So it's an English group of us. So there's seven, maybe 9 of us in this people carrier thing. And it just goes like a rocket. And it's sand. All you got is this a road? I don't even know if it was a road. And we're there. It took a couple of hours to do 150 miles. That's just not right. And we stopped. That can't be right. And we stopped. I'm thinking that foot was to the floor all the way. They had 2 drivers. That was nice of them, I suppose. But yeah. So Hurghada to Luxor just absolutely flew through the desert.
So what they really told you, when you later on realised when they pulled the camera away, you were actually going down, not along, because you were sinking in the sand.
Funny. No, because it was dusk as well.
Yeah.
He's got lights on, but you can't see anything. And then you see every now and then they flick the headlight or the full beam. So he'd flick the full beam, just got to see a little bit ahead. And the speed he was doing is like, do you know actually where you are? Can you see? He must have just trusted that it was a flat bit of sand. I don't know. It was a road, but
can I understand this correctly?
It was a road, but it looked the same colour as the sand. It's like, is it a road or not? How do you know you're on the road or not?
You'd soon find out, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah.
Well, at least you know you're not going to crash.
Well, kind of.
Well,
but it was a really good trip that day. I thoroughly enjoyed going to the temples and that. But oh my word, that journey was something else.
What about the camel? Was that interesting enough? I bet that was comfortable, wasn't it?
How did you get onto that? That was a different trip.
I'm assuming it was a camel.
How did you know? Yeah, I did go on a camel actually on another day. That was the day we nearly got shot.
Oh, that's nice.
I got my camera out. I didn't know it's the King's Palace or Prince's Palace. There's a palace there.
Yeah.
And I had no idea. And I've got a camera out.
Yeah, you're not allowed.
I've got my camera out, and all of a sudden they're screaming and shouting. This bloke's these guards on the fence line. They've got their guns out. They're pointing at me, and then the guide that's on the tours put the camera down. And he's chatting to them in Egyptian. I don't know what's going on. And I'm going, what the heck happened there? And he's going, yeah, they are allowed to shoot you. What do you mean? You can't. You're not allowed to picture the palace. It's not allowed. So, whoa, okay, all right. It's a bit scary.
We do throw the camera down and walk the other way slowly.
No, I kept the camera. I just said, I put it away. His camera's gone. It's gone. But yeah, he just said the tourists. He obviously called us all sorts of stupid names, I presume. But
well, I'm glad you're alive, Lee.
Yeah.
But yeah. But hey,
what a story!
All part of the fun. You want to get Henry? He's got some stories.
Just one question. Did you
Yes.
create a sandcastle?
What, in Egypt?
Yeah.
No.
Why not? Why not?
Well, he's hardly at the beach, is he, Graham?
Well, I did go to the beach. That's why I went to Hurghada.
Okay.
Hurghada's on the Red Sea.
Ben.
In fact, actually, I was in the sea. I actually spent most of my time in the sea, swimming from, because it's coral reefs out there, and I was swimming from reef to reef. And my wife said, "What are you trying to do?" I said, "I'm sure they've got sharks out here. I just want to see a shark." And,
oh my God.
She thought I was nuts. And I went, "Yeah, but you only live once."
Do you know what, Lee? I can relate to that. There's something I'd say.
But yeah, but I was. My story of that moment was when I'm in the reef, and there's something flying around me, and I couldn't work out what it was at first, like but it turned out to be a school of flying fish,
Oh,
Wow.
which is weird because they come out and they're flapping their little fins, or not even wings, they're fins, aren't they? And they fly and then they drop back down again and they come back. But it's a proper school of fish. There's like hundreds and hundreds of them. Very peculiar.
wow.
Yeah,
That
interesting.
was quite cool. And then a few of them bounce off you because obviously you're not supposed to be there, I guess.
Well, there you go. So if you need an entertaining holiday, go to Egypt. I've never been to Egypt, actually.
My wife hated it, but I loved it.
Yeah,
And take Lee as a guide.
No, don't take me. I'll get you killed.
I think the point is, I don't think Lee.
I had a guide, and it's a good thing I did.
Yeah. Well, I'm pleased you like the shot. I mean, like you said, they will shoot, and I'm thinking, and they've never opened fire. I mean, obviously they must have realised.
I guess he just said they can. You're not allowed to photograph the palace. End of. People get shot over it.
Wow,
Okay, fair enough. So
wow. I take it there's no pictures up on Google then.
no. Actually, there might be a couple of pictures on my phone somewhere, but I probably shouldn't put them on Google. No, true.
Have them come around your house. No, I don't think that's a good idea.
I don't
What
know.
palace were we talking about exactly? If you don't mind.
Whoever the Egyptian king or prince is. There's one. It's in Hurghada, and there is. No, I'm talking. I'm on the wrong trip. It's Morocco.
That was my fault from earlier.
Yeah, you changed the camel.
Yeah.
No, we didn't do the camel in Egypt. We did the camels in Morocco. It's a completely different country, the other side of Africa altogether.
Can I just get something cleared up before we go any further there? Can I
Yeah, go
ask? Do you even get camels in Egypt for a start?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course you do.
Yeah, loads of them. I just chose not to.
Do they
I
look
wanted-
different in Morocco?
Sorry?
Do camels look different in Morocco?
I don't know. It's a camel, isn't it?
I don't know.
I'm not a camel expert. I'm sorry.
I get the impression that Ben's trying to push for a joke.
No, I mean, you know.
Well, why? Has he got the ump?
I think he has.
I like that. I like that.
All right.
No, I just don't know. I mean, like,
Or are you likely to get the hump?
nah. Depends how many.
What am I doing here? I'm supposed to be here for half an hour. What have you done?
He
You've
is. Well,
dragged it on
he
again.
is.
What have you done to
He
me?
is. But because it's so entertaining, wouldn't you say, folks?
Yeah.
You know, and you've got so much to say, and I've not known anything about Egypt, and I've learned a few things today. So I hope somebody else.
Yeah,
is
don't bother
taking
going to Cairo though, because you can't even get in the pyramids.
Well, I've never. Yeah, I'm interested in pyramids. I'm interested in the culture as well. It's interesting. I'd like to go to Egypt. That's on the to-do list. I think.
Mm.
You know,
It's a long way. It's about 500 miles between
Yeah.
Luxor, which is like the main centre,
Yeah.
and well, it's not even Cairo. It's Giza, where the pyramids are. And you'd have to fly it. You'd have to, if you were going to arrange a trip. It's just not a nice journey. So it's 500 miles. It's a long drive.
cool. Yeah.
So fly it. So you book it in as part of a flight. But they do Nile.
You say
trips
500
as well.
miles?
Yeah.
Hang on, 500 miles.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh, is that all? That's like going from here to Glasgow. It's not a nice drive. Not if you're on holiday.
right. No, I suppose not. But I thought
Yeah.
being Egypt would be a bit further than 500 miles. Surely.
What Luxor is no, it goes further on. The Nile itself, you can do Nile. The Nile cruise is probably a better way to do it. They do a Nile cruise, and that
Yeah.
travels down the Niles, and you get to see all the sites. I've thought about doing that before, but my wife won't do it. She decided she hates Egypt.
I mean, it's only 200 miles to Leeds.
I knew you were going with it this direction.
Who would want to go to Leeds anyway? Eh?
500 miles from the United Kingdom to Cairo,
Anyway,
Ben. I
finished.
think, yeah. Bless
That's
him.
interesting. Well, there you go, folks. If you've got a car, Fiat Panda, doesn't matter which one you got.
I've done a Fiat
Yeah.
Panda from Newcastle to home once. That was the worst thing. And a selector, so it's automatic.
That's why I said it.
So if you put your foot down too hard, it kicked down. It's like it went slower. Oh, horrible thing. That was horrible thing.
Yeah, no, they're not. They're a bit bumpy, aren't they? A bit.
Hmm.
Well, it wasn't the bumpy bit. It was foggy and I couldn't see. And I mean, I'm thinking if something hits me, I'm not here anymore.
I'm not here anymore.
I'm going down the motorway on a skateboard.
You're going down the motorway on the back seat to give yourself a bit more protection. Leaning over the back seat. Yeah, that's interesting.
Oh, that was a hire car. Oh, what a mistake that was.
Do you know what? My fastest, nippiest car I've ever had was a Volkswagen Golf E-Reg, 1988, estate.
Okay.
1 litre.
I used to like the Rover Sterling. That was quite nice. It had a 2.7 Honda engine actually, but that was quite nippy.
Yeah. Wow. Good stuff.
There you go. Cars.
Well, that's been great.
Cars.
Oh, thank you very much, Lee.
That's another lifetime.
Yeah. No, it's been great.
Thank you, Lee.
It's been great, and
coming on today.
appreciate it.
Right, that's me done. Nice to see you all, guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yeah, we will try.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And that was our friend and wonderful guest, Lee Turner, who's joined us for some time to talk about some bits and pieces within his life. What a guy. Thank you very much, Lee. And we really hope to get you back on the street.
Yes.
And
he got us out of a hole, didn't he, basically? Because we didn't have
sand.
Yeah. Well, some sort of pit. He got us out of a pit, a hole, whatever.
Yes, he did. Well, Grem, I mean, again, it's been a pleasure. And we've had a few people in this evening. It's been really good and really enjoyed ourselves. We always enjoy ourselves, Grem. We do. We say this every time. It's just a pleasure, isn't it?
Okay, yes. I mean, we've tried a different style tonight, guys. So I'm hoping that you've all enjoyed it. If you can leave a comment for us.
I think also, just to add about the new style, Grem, I think it's also a case of, well, if you guys like it, we'll keep it. But if you've got any ideas, again, this is your stream, guys. We're streaming, but this is your stream. It's all about what you want. It's about what you want to talk about. It's about what you want to see. So if there's any particular topics, it doesn't matter. Put it in the comment box, or otherwise message us on the Facebook Messenger, and we can then talk about it and take it on, and then edit it and put it in to a future show. Not so much edit it, but you know what I mean, Graham. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
But no, guys, it's been great, and we've enjoyed ourselves again, Graham, haven't we? Definitely.
Yes. Yeah. It's been a great night.
Very much so. Well, that's it from myself and Graham. Good night.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.